How near retirees could lose thousands of dollars a year in Social Security benefits because of the shutdown. This is part two. I want to revisit this because I know a lot of you guys are concerned, and I get it. I wish I could alleviate the concerns, but I don't see how I can, unless we get unless we get less of a decline in the economy than is what we're kind of predicting. So we're going to go again to Andrew Biggs's article. I've read this a million times. I emailed him, he emailed me back, and this is stunning to me how no one knew this other than the Andrew Biggs. Essentially, I'd never heard this. I guarantee if you asked 1,000 of the most prominent Social Security experts out there, if they knew how AWI was indexed, they would have no clue. Which doesn't bode well for to have faith that just this. I hear a lot that I don't trust the Social Security system. I don't trust the government because they can do whatever they want. And I would say, yeah, but Social Security is a good program. I would never have voted for it if I was in the Senate or the House in FDR's time. But here we are. It's got to stay, and we got to enhance it for sure. But you hear things like this, you're like, this is nuts. And so anyway, let me just read this to you. This is from Andrew Biggs, page 8. And again, Andrew Biggs is one of the premier knowledgeable guys on Social Security. I won't say their names, but I got some people who write in the Journal for Financial Planning, some various think tanks. I just wonder if they have any idea how this works. Because if not, it's stunning to me if people don't know how this works. And yet Social Security represents such a big, important threshold for people to retire. And anyway, so let's read what Andrew says. Wage indexing of career average earnings make that career average susceptible to a large change in earnings in the single year to which past earnings are wage indexed. As we have shown, when the average wage index in that year falls below projected levels by a given amount, earnings in all past years are reduced by a similar percentage. That in the Social Security calculator, does it show that? No one knows this. That is crazy to me. And I'm sitting there thinking, so the only way I can share it how this works is that essentially we're saying they're going to index your average wage index to 100 in 1977 essentially. And look, I'm just using this from my gathering. I'm not saying I'm an expert by any stretch of the imagination in exact how the average wage index is calculated, but reading Andrew's article 1,000 times, it looks like everything is predicated on 1977. So we're going to use that as our starting point. Your ending point is the year you turn 60. All right, so your ending point now would be 2020. If you're born in 1960, your ending point is in 2020. So we say from 1977 to 2020. In 1977, we start with 100. In 2020, we end with 200. That was the average wage index over the course of your career. But in 2020, that's what we predict. That's what the Social Security Administration assumes was going to happen. And again, we talked about this last episode. We said they thought there could be an 8% increase in wages. But instead of that 8% increase in wages, which would give us that 200, we actually have a 15% decline. So now, not only are we not at 2,000, we're at 23% below that essentially. Because we had an 8% increase in 2020 is what the projections were, the trustees for AWI, which would put us up to 200. We didn't get that. We actually went down 15%. Again, we have no idea. We're estimating here. So now instead of being at 200, we're at, 177 or something like that? And again, I'm just trying to give you a gauge how this works. So where it used to be 1 to 200, now it's 1 to 177. And that is going to affect you for the rest of your life just because it's 1 year that you had nothing to do with. It's crazy. Now, he does say, I want to share this with you too, because if you were born in 2021, don't think you're out of the woods yet. It's likely that the average wage index for 2021 will still be substantially below the levels predicted in the 2019 Social Security Trustees Report. So what's happening here, and this is for everybody who is yet to retire. So if you're above 60, it doesn't matter. I mean, because what happens at 60 is you then go into cost of living adjustments just based on inflation. So if you, which you want the average wage index, literally you do, because if you look at the AWI versus COLAs, it's pretty significant difference in the two. We're benefiting using the AWI, the average wage index, relative to the cost of living adjustments. But other than the fact that we have a significant decline in a year, that's bad. That's bad because the average wage index doesn't go up. It actually goes down significantly, potentially. We don't know. Again, we don't know. So what's happening here is he's saying if 2021 AWI is substantially below the levels of the trustees report, you're going to have the same effect here in 2022 as well. But they don't think that, so they say basically over time, wages will presumably return to the baseline levels, and Social Security benefits in the long run will be relatively unaffected by the shutdown of 2020. Well, that's for everybody else, but if you are in that 1 year, 2020, 2021, and I don't know so much about 2022, I'm not all that worried about it yet, but if we get a Great Depression revisiting because insanity of legislation that comes down the pike to stifle entrepreneurship, stifle growth, you could be looking at. So let's just look at his chart here. This, I just, you try to give the benefit of the doubt to these programs, and you're like, yeah, but it's a good program, well run. I know it's got some problems, but at least I can bank on it. Then you find out something like this. Now, Andrew does say in 1917, the difference in 1917 and 1918 retirees, 1917 retirees got screwed. They lobbied Congress for a fix. They didn't get it. In fact, they said, one guy said, and Andrew cited his paper, he goes, yeah, it turned out to be not that big of a deal after all because the people who were born in 1917 actually worked a couple extra years. So I'm like, well, that's great. So now I was relying on $200 a month, or $10,000 a year, and now I'm going to get $300 a month less than that. So I'll go back to work with this guy who was 1 year after me. He just lucks out. On top of that, that's what Tammy Flanagan was saying too about some government pension stuff. I forgot what it was, but it's nuts. It's like, I think it's people who started working for the government, the federal government in 2013, had to pay like 4 times as much as people who started working for the federal government in 2012 towards their pension. Sucks. No, there's just no two ways around it. So I want to show you this chart though he shows you. This just infuriates me. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I don't know what's going on here or why no one's seen this. All right, so nominal earnings, that's with inflation added to it. All right, so basically we got these 5 scales. I'm going to show you the scales. We got very low, this is your AIME, all right, your average, not your AIME, it's your AIAE, your average index annual earnings. So then we divide that by 12 to get your AIME. So we got, I think these are in quintiles. I can't remember. I could have sworn he said, I guess they're in quintiles. But anyway, so you got the medium is what we're going to talk about here. And we'll just say that's at the midpoint of the AIAE. So what we do is we take that $56,599, and this is based on simulation based on 2019 trustees report. And so what we're going to do, we go to, let's see, 5.6. Let me go to, can I do find on the Mac? Yeah, sweet. 5.6 right here. So they predicted in 2018, the trustees report had the AWI 50, the average wage index was 52,146. They predicted that the nominal AWI for 2020 would be 8% higher than it was in 2018. So it'd be 8% higher. Yeah. So the trustees report 2019 projected the nominal AWI for 2020 would be 8% higher. Now again, that's from 2018. So they predicted to be 52,000 in 2018, 56.5 roughly in 2020. So 2 years later. But this is highly overstated due to the shutdown. So let's go back to here. So that was the nominal for the median average worker, the median scaled worker, this guy right here. All right, so this is based on 2019 trustees report simulations. All right, and so we're going to say 56.59. We're going to divide that by 12, 56.599, and that's going to give us an average wage, an AIME, an average index monthly earnings of $47.16. The first $960 of that $47.16. I don't have a notepad. Oh, geez Louise. All right, hold on. Let me find a piece of paper. It's the back of my food saver owner's manual. So we got 4716 is our average index monthly earnings. All right. Now the first 960 is we get 90% of that. All right. So we take 4716 minus 960. That gives us 3756, which we get 32% of. So times 0.32. It's 1202. Bear with me just a second. This will make sense here in just a second. 960 times 0.9. That's 864. All right. So we're going to get that guy, that median worker, is going to get his PIA. The amount he gets at his full retirement age is $2,066. Okay. So now Andrew's saying, well, what happens if we reduce it? We have adjusted, assuming reduced AWI in 2020, 21, 2022. Now that goes to, let's see, what is that? 56,599 to 49,182. 49,182. Divide that by 12. That gives us 4,000. That's freaking, man, that's just crazy. That's $700 a month difference in your AWI. Times 0.9. Hold on just a second. This will make sense in a second. 3138. So we have literally 3138 times 0.32, 1044 plus 864. Yeah, I mean that's exactly, that's right there, exactly. So it's a difference between $2,066 a month and $1,868 a month. That's $200 a month difference, man, for just this right here, this scaled earner. That's real money. That's real money. Hey. Now that's at age 67, by the way, and I'm not sure if he's accounting with the cost of living adjustments. I don't know, but either way, that's a lot of money, dude. That's $200 a month right out the gate. And if you add with cost of living adjustments and stuff like that, and whatever else Andrew is doing here, that's real freaking money. That's real money. Oh, that infuriates me. And I'm just sitting there thinking, well, and you're not out of the woods yet. I mean, look at this. So if you're a high income earner and the max, you're out, $500 a month more than that there, $400, $450 a month there. If you're a low end worker, you're out $2,000 a year. I mean, that's real money. No one can afford that just because you're born in 2020. But remember, it's not just 2020. I already told you. He said, again, I want to show it to you here right quick. If we go down to, as we've shown, the average wage index, and he got a typo in there, the year in which you turn 60, if it falls below projected levels by a given amount, earnings in all past years are also reduced by a similar percentage. By contrast, if earnings in the Social Security benefit formula, he talks about it being indexed for inflation, wage indexing of career average earnings makes that career average susceptible to a large change in the earnings in the single year to which past earnings are wage indexed which is when you turn 60. However, don't be mistaken. Just because you're born in 2021 doesn't mean you're out of the thing. If you're born in 1961, 1962, hell, I was born in 1970. The same thing could apply. It is likely that the average wage index in 2021 will still be substantially below the levels predicted for it in the 2019 cohort, 2019 Social Security Trustees report. I don't know how many solution here. Now, Andrew talks about a quick fix, which I guess we'll just go into real quick. I hate to say a quick fix because it's certainly not. Let's see what he talks about. Where does he talk about such a sharp discontinuity and benefits between two succeeding cohorts of Social Security creates what is called a notch. A notable prior notch occurred in the 1970s when efforts to correct an error in the Social Security benefit formula resulted in lifetime benefits of approximately $6,100 lower to retirees born in 1917 than retirees born in 1916. Despite the fact that the correction of the Social Security benefit formula was at that time was necessary, the notch was highly perceived as unfair, and for years affected cohorts lobbied, albeit without success, for increases in their benefits. So they tried, but they didn't get addressed their issue. For this reason, policymakers may wish to consider what, if any, policy changes. Now he talks about a couple of things in here how you can do it. In terms of wish to address the forecasted benefit cuts for Social Security participants who are age 60. One would be to legislate an ad hoc benefit increase for members of that cohort, perhaps paid as a flat dollar amount in order to more fully offset the benefit loss for lower wage participants than for higher earners. I'm not going to go on with that. A second would be to temporarily alter the Social Security benefit formula to reduce the effects of the decline in the average wage index expected for 2020. For instance, you could use the first quarter of 2020 before the shutdown job losses became large. This would not be unusual since until 1977, the average wage index was actually calculated based only on the first quarter earnings data. So they've done that before. They can certainly do it again. Social Security payroll tax receipts in February 2020 was about 5.4%, above those of February 2019, indicating strong wage growth over that period. Anyway, third option would be move away from wage indexing of the benefit formula as part of a larger reform to address Social Security financing and instead use inflation. Anyway, I just want to go back to this chart again because I thought it was pretty interesting. So here you got nominal earners, and again, nominal is before, is after, is including inflation. So you can see the high guy here, the maximum. They start out at 30,000 when they're 22. Now they're 66 and making 180. All right. The low, very low, is this blue. They start out at, I don't know, what's that, freaking 7,500. Now they're making 18,000 or so. And so you can see the nominal rate, the increase this is what the average wage index is based on. These are the change in the AWI. So they're taking all of these changes, and they're adjusting it with the increase in the average wage index. So right here is at 30,000 roughly. Now it's at 180, or what's that? Yeah, 180. Whatever that rate is, I don't know off the top of my head. You could easily figure it out. But over 44 years, that's going to be the average wage index. Plus, this will be one average wage. This. So they'll all be factored in accordingly. But if you have a decline in the last year, right here, it goes down, that's going to affect you. So I don't have any solution. I'm going to be 50 at the end of this year. So I hope I don't retire into a bad year that's self-inflicted. If you are 60 years old and you are looking at taking Social Security, this is going to affect you. Most likely. Now, the way if we get the stupid economy back on, maybe it won't be that big of a deal. We haven't been through this before. He uses an example that the retirees who were taking Social Security during the Great Recession were fine, that they didn't have any negative impact. But this isn't like the Great Recession. This is horrific. So I don't know the answer. I just know it's concerning, and you better be keeping your eye on this and lobbying Congress. Say, whoa. Because Andrew Biggs isn't a joke, man. This guy knows what he's talking. I hate to say he's not some YouTube character like me or Devin Carroll or anyone else like that. Andrew Biggs was one of the chief guys at the Social Security Administration under George W. Bush. I don't know what to tell you, folks. A couple of things. I've had a couple of answers. What if I'm already on benefit? Look, if you're over 60 now, it doesn't matter. You're no longer in the average wage index. You're in the COLA, so it literally matters not. If you haven't taken your benefit, it doesn't matter. Or I should say again, if you're over 60, it doesn't matter. If you do get it reduced, it's going to give you more reason to delay for sure, but it still sucks. Yeah, you can delay, but that doesn't mean it's right. Anyway, I don't know what to tell you. I just the government gives, the government takes. That's the example for this. You can't. This is why I say at the end of the day, well, I'm not worried about Social Security en masse. I'm not worried about pensions en masse, because you have one cohort out of many. That one cohort is always going to get the short end of the stick. If you have a huge cohort, what I mean by that, a bunch of voters represent all the old people out there in the United States, senior citizens who vote en masse, their benefits aren't likely to get affected. But if I'm, 50, if I'm 61 today and you're 60 and you're getting screwed, I'm not. Is it really likely to get me to freaking wave the torch? I don't think so. Anyway, keep your eye on this. Write your congressman. Let's get something started. Say this is nuts. All right. Love to hear your comments. See ya.